Hello YouTubers, this is Demon0981, here to bring you a video I've been thinking about for quite some time. Now, we've all heard of the numerous creepypastas, the creepy theories, stories involving the Slender Man, Jeff the Killer, or everything like that. Stories that seem like they're are fake, but can in turn become real. At some point. Then there's the subject of this two-part video, entitled the last episode creepypastas. We all know what these ones are. They're the creepypastas centered around either TV shows or just TV episodes in general, that were supposedly banned or taken off the air due to some disturbing content, controversial subjects, or the fact that the creators were completely deranged when they made it. I've comprised a list of the top 8 creepypastas of the last episode subgenre. Now, keep in mind, the actual creepypasta last episode will not be included because it would probably kind of be cheating, and it's not exactly a last episode creepypasta, even though it has a character butchering and editing original home material to make it into a creepypasta form. Now, you're probably wondering why I'm choosing just 8 of the numerous creepypastas of the last episode of some genre. Because I've only heard of 8 up until now. And as you'll see later on in this list, there's one, and even I have never heard of, and nobody's actually done a live reading. Maybe I'll do it later, or in a future video. But without further ado, let's go on with the list. Number 8. The Ed and Eddie last episode. Now, I've loved watching the antics of Ed, Double D, and Eddie. From scamming the other cul-de-sac kids with Eddie's numerous schemes to basically taking their monkey shines to school with them. This creepypasta made me kind of cringe by how dark it was. Basically, the narrator described seeing an episode that aired accidentally before it was supposed to originally air. And what that they saw and what was described can be quite disturbing. Ed and Eddie walking down on the cul-de-sac with Eddie having an angry expression on his face, while Ed basically looks forlorn and miserable. It cuts to a claymation scene depicting Double D sleeping in Eddie's bed before running around the room screeching like a Fisher cat, according to the wiki. Kevin rides up toward Ed and Eddie on his bike. It's kind of a distorted blob-like appearance, and so it cuts to black. The next scene is Jimmy and Sarah at some doctor's office. The scariest part being that Jimmy is now missing teeth and his headgear is raised to the point where it's almost tearing out his lips and making his gums bleed. But he's also missing 4 all of his arms and legs. Out of nowhere, that is a sudden scene with a really hairy Rolf, and I don't want to use this term, but it's part of the story, fisting a cow repeatedly. I don't know what that means. I don't want to know what that means. Nobody in the comment section better tell me. I'm just gonna think of it as Rolf is basically punching a cow, not something else. After that, that cool off. We cut to a scene where Naz is sitting on a couch chair reading a magazine. Out of nowhere, Johnny 2x4 comes out up from the bottom of the chair, kind of looking normal, except with white pupilless eyes. And after a while, Johnny attempts to swallow Naz's head. Okay. The final scene depicts Double D lying on Eddie's floor, no longer in claymation. And then it basically ends from there. Now, I don't know about you, but combined with the boss, like the Ed and Eddie purgatory theory, it does make you wonder. Number 7. We all know this one is going to end up on the list sooner or later. Candle Cove. Everyone on the internet has heard of this creepypasta at one point or another, and the infamous screaming episode was associated with it. For those who have yet to read or listen to the readings of this story, allow me to briefly summarize it. The story mostly takes place on a public forum where 4 people discuss the subject of Candle Cove, which was a TV series about a little girl and a crew of puppet pirates, but also featured a villain and who was a skeleton wearing a cape and top hat made out of human skin. And the most perplexing thing about the story, however, is that it may have been part of the blogger's imagination all along. Now, I will admit, I tried looking for Candle Cove to see if it was real. I have mixed feelings about that. What I found, along with the next one. Number 6, 1999. This creepypasta should have been at number 1, but seeing as it's not quite complete, it's on the bottom. But the thing that really terrifies me about this is that this could actually happen. With all the child molesters and predators out there, including the idiots who watch Catch to Catch a Predator and do what they know is going to happen anyway. The creepypasta almost sounded like a real documentary about someone who, the narrator, who was almost tricked by a child predator bear costume. Said that Predator also hosted his own line of TV shows in Ontario that seemed more disturbing than they should have been, including one where he stabbed the child's hand with scissors in a parodized or satirical knockoff of Nick Jr. show, Ubi. By the way, if you don't know what that is, I suggest you look it up. Seeing as this could actually happen anywhere in history, it felt worth putting it on the list. Again, this story on YouTube isn't quite finished yet. I'm still kind of waiting for the continuation from Mr. Creepypasta. But it's out. It's kind of legit. And you can argue that it's a creepypasta. It's not real. Oh yeah. Now think about oh where bad kids go. What about Gateway of the Mind? What about the Russian sleep experiment? Those things can actually happen. On to number 5, which is her first tie between two SpongeBob SquarePants last episode 55 did. Actually, technically one and a half. It's Plankton got served and Squidward's suicide. Yes. Now let's start with Plankton got served because a lot of you are probably wondering why it's on the list and why is it considered a creepypasta. Plankton got served was actually supposed to be an alternative title for the SpongeBob episode One Course Meal. Oh, but was made darker and more graphic, like in detail. For those who have not seen the original episode I'm talking about, Plankton revealed that he is definitely afraid of whales, as his ancestors were eaten by a pod of them. With this knowledge at hand, Mr. Krabs was to torment Plankton and his daughter Pearl for at least 2 weeks until Plankton wants to commit suicide. Now imagine how worse this could get, and multiply it by 10. After Squidward's suicide, we've all heard about this one. It's dark, it's disturbing, and it kind of makes sense in a way. After being booed by everyone at Bikini Bottom during his clarinet recital, Squidward cries on his bed until his eyes become hyper-realistic like the other citizens. A voice out of nowhere then tells him, "Do it," as he picks up a rifle and kills himself. As disturbing photos of murdered children can be seen. I'm going to end the video here, and I'll see you in part 2.